Everybody have a pretty good day?
No.
No? What's bad about going to school? What if you could go to school? There's a lot you wouldn't know. You're right. Well, in a sense, it is sort of that way. But we learn anywhere. School is anywhere. That's, we learn when we're walking around outside and we got our eyes open. That's right. Luke. We're waiting on the side to get back. You want to grab the Bible before. So, hey. So, here goes the floor. Well, good. Hey, I seen somebody doing some dancing or something, but I don't know who it was. I mean, oh, you know who was it? Who was it? Yes, sir. We don't see any popsicles around here no more. Okay. All right, so are we all good? We ready to go now? So can we go ahead and go? We'll get to that. And we'll show up. All right. Here we go. Let's focus down. Hey, Mr. Ridge. You better watch it, boy. All right, here we go. Got a question for y'all. I think that's where I usually start this, don't I? How often, and please don't blurt out, put the hands up. What do you do? Okay, well hurry up and now wait. We're gonna wait just another minute. His eyes still holding stuff. Well, you gotta blame it on somebody.
Really?
It's funny though that I said that because that would have worked perfectly with the other thing that I thought about doing tonight, but we'll do it later. But that would have been really good segue. All right, here we go now. All right, everybody listen up. How often do we see people around us in school, at work, at just everyday whatever we're doing life? How often do we see people around us doing things the wrong way? Well, every day. All right. Well, let me ask you this. How many times do you see people doing things the hard way? Well, let me ask this. How often do we realize that these people could really benefit from our input?
Every day.
I mean, really, we know a better way to do it, right? And I mean, honestly, we may know a better way to do it. So we do see this. Y'all know what I'm talking about then, right? So you see people doing things the hard way. You see people doing things wrong. You see people just really could do it a lot better. Really could. And make things make life a lot easier. All right, well, let me read a little something to you if you want to turn with me. We're going to look in the book of Luke, the Gospel of Luke. And we're going to be in chapter 6 of the Gospel of Luke. And we're going to read verses 41 and 42 in the 6th chapter of the Gospel of Luke. And it tells us this. And why beholdest thou the mote that is in thy brother's eye, but perceiveth not the beam that is in thine own eye? Either how canst thou say to thy brother, Brother, let me pull out the mote that is in thine eye, when thou thyself beholdest not the beam that is in thine own eye? Thou hypocrite, cast out first the beam of thine own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to pull out the mote that is in thy brother's eye. All right, I'll help you out a little bit here, because I know some of you may not speak, every day old 1611 English. I mean, a few of y'all probably don't. But does anybody know what a moat is in this situation? A moat. Hands up, hold up. Use laugh. Go ahead.
Something that it's a man-made water.
I know what you're saying, like a moat around a castle, but that's not what it is in this case, yes, sir.
It's like something that surrounds a protection.
Not in this case. But you're right. I mean, that's what that's what I mean. Okay? So, now hold on a minute. Now let me see. Let's listen. And why beholdest thou the moat or the pond around the castle or the boat that's in your brother's house? Does that sound right? What?
People.
Oh, pupil? Okay. Anybody else got any ideas on what this word moat is? Yes, sir. Let me help you out with it a little bit. Now, first off, a little trick that I can teach you. Sometimes that will help you when you're reading the King James. You'll get a clue soon after a word a lot of times that helps you understand what a word means. Like in this case, the clue on this would be, but see this not the beam that is in thine own eye. Now, does anybody know what that beam is? A beam. Yes, sir. I got to work y'all on Sawville a little bit more. All right, whatever. But I mean, that is a key. Anytime you're reading in the King James Version, do that. Look around the word that you don't understand, and it'll probably be defined for you somewhere close to it. Give you an idea of what it means. Yes, ma'am.
A beam is a large plank of wood that holds up a structure.
Absolutely. That's a very definite definition of it. Okay, all right, let's go back. So if a beam is a large piece of wood, and what do you think maybe the moat is? Anybody got an idea? No, it's not.
I don't know.
Okay. A moat in this case is something small and insignificant. So now let me tell you what the name of tonight's little message is. Never mind my log, look at your splinter. So now we can change the word beam to a log and the word moat to a splinter, because it means the same thing. So what we're saying is, what we're saying is, why do I look around the people that all around me and see their mistakes and their mess ups and their problems and what they're doing wrong when I myself am doing something even worse, or I myself have something even worse wrong, or I myself am making mountains out of molehills. I myself, I need to look at me first. And that's what it's saying. You keep on going there, and it tells us before we worry about the beam or the big problem, or, well, let me rephrase that. Before we worry about the little thing that somebody else is doing, let's make sure that we're taking care of our issues first before we go to point out somebody else's issues. Now, there's more to this. We're going to keep going. It's also pointing out the fact that, and this is the truth too, it is very often extremely hard for us to see ourselves. That's the most difficult thing in the world. It's for us to see ourselves and see the things that we need to do better, or we need to improve, or whatever. And a lot of that is perception as well. Because a lot of times we perceive that somebody else is doing something really bad because that's the way we're seeing it, and it may not be quite as bad as we see it. Just in the same, and vice versa, then we don't realize that what we're doing might be way worse than what we're doing. So that goes both ways. Now, does it y'all get what I'm saying? Y'all understand what I'm talking about here? Somebody explain. Somebody give me a little summation of what we're talking about here. Anybody? Anybody? Anyone? So y'all can't tell me what we're talking about? We're talking about. Yes, sir. What'd you say is the inside? Okay, in a sense, yeah, I guess you could say that's where we've got to so far. That's where we've wrapped it up to, is that we don't have to focus on other people's problems so much as we need to focus first on our own problems. All right? That's a pretty good point. So, that brings us right here to my next question that I have here. Does this mean that we should not help others?
We should, but
But what?
Sometimes they don't want
Well, yeah, that's a good point, but that's not the question. The question is, does this mean that we should not help others? Okay. You have a reason why we should, or why we should?
Because it's about what that.
yeah, because,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, then, let's look at a little bit as to how we need to start looking into that process of maybe helping others. Let's turn to Colossians. Look up Colossians. Anybody tell me what book Colossians comes after and what it comes before? Real quick, anybody? That was just a quick trivia. Anyways, Colossians chapter 4. The 4th chapter of Colossians. And we will look at verse 6. I'll read this to you real quick. Colossians 4 and 6. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that you may know how you ought to answer every man. Okay, what does it mean to be seasoned with salt? Your speech, see, okay, you're salty. Nah, not in the sense that we've used that word. Have you ever tried to eat something that has no seasoning on it? It's not that good, is it? Yeah, I mean, but if you don't, if it's not seasoned, especially if it don't have salt on it. Wait a minute, did you just say you made it on bacon? It wasn't that good. I hope it was smoked. But anyways, we'll keep on going on about that. And that didn't panic you later with that. But, we'll go ahead and somebody might want to give him a shot of Ivermectin too. He can probably worm me now. So. But anyways, let me try to remember where I was at. But anyway, if you ate something that's not been seasoned, it's got no seasoning on it whatsoever, like say some potato, a mashed potato or a baked potato, you put nothing on it. Yeah, that's what it means. All right, we don't have, we've got no seasoning on it. Is it very good to eat? It's not very good to eat, right? It's not tasty. I mean, you're probably going to eat it if you're hungry, but it's not something you really want, right? You don't really want to take it in, correct? You don't really want to take it in, all right? Because it's got no flavor. It's got no seasoning. It's not good, so we don't want it.
But it don't actually eat it, what do you say?
That's not the point. We're not going there. Hold up. My point is, no, you don't lie. You never lie. But the point is if it's not seasoned, you don't really want to take it in. Guess what? That means when they say, let your speech be seasoned with salt. It means that the things you say to somebody, you need to make sure that it's said in a way that they're going to want to take it in. They're going to want to say, okay, that's pretty good. Just like that baked potato with nothing on it, or that baked potato that's got salt and butter on it. I don't like sour cream, so I'm going to stop with salt and butter. But I'm going to pick that salt and butter baked potato way before I pick out just plain baked potato. And it's the same way with the way you speak to somebody. If you'll speak to them in a way that's got a little salt and butter on it, they're going to take it in. They're going to ingest it. They're going to hear what you got to say. Back then, exactly. Even, I don't know if any of you have ever had a coach or a teacher that could get on to you, yet you still hung on every word they said. Even though they was getting on to you, it's kind of like a dog. How many of you have a dog? You can get on to that dog and that little tail will still wag at you because he loves you to death. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's the same thing. They're willing to accept it if you got it, if you give it to them in a way that they want it. It makes them feel okay. All right, so now, here we are. We know we do think that we should help people. And therefore, the way that we're going to talk to these people and help these people, we're going to do it seasoned with salt. All right, so right now, you go, okay, that's easy enough. I say it nicely. There's more to it. There's more to it than just saying it nicely, because we, believe it or not, we can be fake. What did you say to the second show, Brittany? About the, oh yeah, what if they ask you to eat it and then you go, oh yeah, it's good. So your answer was seasoned with salt, but it was fake. Am I right? It wasn't good. So although you seasoned your speech with salt, they probably didn't take it in too well because they realized, it's fake. It might have frosting on it, but they couldn't have frosting. Get what I'm saying there? All right, so season it with salt, but there's more to it. So let's go back to Luke chapter 6. I hear something. Oh, all right. Okay, back in Luke chapter 6. For just a second, we're going to be in the 45th verse of Luke chapter 6 this time. So Luke chapter 6, verse 45. And here we go. A good man out of the good treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is good. And an evil man out of the treasure of his heart bringeth forth that which is evil. For of the abundance of the heart his mouth speaketh. All right, so what are we? When we point out to somebody something that they're doing wrong, or some way that we can show them how to do it better, or one of those things, where we go, hey, come here, let me talk to you. You really make yourself look bad there, or whatever it may be, something like that. When we do that, why are we doing it? Okay. Is that why we're doing it most of the time? And I hope that's the answer. I hope that's why we're doing it sometimes. But sometimes we do things like that because we want to make sure they know they've done right. They can do it better. We have that in us sometimes. We can't help it. Part of the old nature. Sometimes we want to just make ourselves feel a little bit better than somebody else. Now, that happens. Sometimes we say it seasoned with salt. But deep down, we're really saying it maybe to make them mad. Maybe to embarrass them. Maybe to, and it may be something as simple just to make me feel a little bit better. Even though I may not say it, nobody else lives for that reason. And if we're doing that, even though we season it with salt, it wasn't authentic, it wasn't true. Now, it's easy to do that part. Here's where we get back. Not in the words that we say, it's the words that we react to. So, here we are. We're having this conversation with somebody, and then all of a sudden, they strike back at us about it. And then, all of a sudden, we strike out at them. I forgot something about that. Why did we strike out at them? If we were trying to help them, when they got harsh at us about trying to help them, why did we suddenly get harsh back to them? Because what is in us? What is the real reason we're trying to do it? All right, and if the reasons we're trying to help them are not for the right reasons, then that's going to come out. It's going to come out. We're going to get told on it. We're going to tell on ourselves. So there's only one thing left that we need to discuss. We know that we should help those, even though there may be a big old humongous log in our eye and just a little tiny splinter in their eye. Even still, we should try to help. That's what we do. That's right. It's good. Now we need to work on getting this log out of our own eye, obviously, but we can still help in that stuff, and we can do it for the right reasons. But how do we make our hearts be a fountain for sweet and not for bitter? How do we make it be that when they strike out at us, we still react in a loving way? How do we do that? Yep. And where do we learn that? Because walking in the Spirit. When we start each and every day reading and praying and doing those things, and we spend as much time as we can in this Bible. And I know for a lot of us that's not a lot of opportunity. But if we give that time, every bit of time that we possibly can to read the Word, to pray and asking God, hey, show me what it is you want me to do. Show me what it is that you want me to get with. When we do those things, our hearts then are going to react in the right way. Our desire to help somebody will be for the right reason. It will be for a godly reason. It won't be for anything against them, and it won't be for anything necessarily for us. It'll be for God. It'll be helping for the right reason. And that comes from within us, and that comes from a good prayer and study life. And when you do that. And like I said, hey, look, I understand it's easy to believe, but if you can't work for 5 minutes in, work that 5 minutes in. It's worth it, believe me. And then, do what we've done. We've prepared ourselves to help them with that splinter. And we've also started pulling that log out of our own mind. So, sometimes bad things happen for good reasons. You ever read the book of Job? Read it. It's pretty awesome. Here's a guy that, and let me tell you what, you say, well, he deserved it. Well, we all deserved it, but let me tell you this. There ain't none of us that's ever come close to being as righteous as Job was. And yet he still has.
But he didn't deserve it. That's not really his fault.
That he was rich. It wasn't really his fault that he was rich. No, but that's it. It really didn't have nothing to do with being rich.
I know that he said.
Well, what was Job's sin?
What?
What was his sin? What sin did he commit that brought that on for him? You know?
Well, I know that he got money and everything went away from him.
His sin was thinking too highly of himself.
They played
No, he was actually a pretty good guy, but he thought that he was a pretty good guy. But in fact, the very best of us are not very good guys. None of us are good without God. Only God makes us good. Naturally, we are not good. So that's what that does on that. But again, Job, he lost 10 children, he lost all his money, he lost all his livestock, he lost all his servants. About the only thing Job did not lose was his wife, who told him to just go ahead and curse God and die. Oh, he had boils from head to toe. Everything that could have happened did happen except for he didn't die.
He didn't lose God though.
He never lost God. And now here's another great thing about Job. He never stopped believing in God. He realized that there was a reason why, but he didn't understand what it was. And then, if you get that very toward the end of Job, you find out that he understands really quickly. It's all clear. The moment that God said a word to Job, he realized, and it's significant. I'm not worthy of that. But if we get all of that kind of stuff, we still have the Word of God. This is God speaking to us right here. You read this thing. He'll define things for you. And then that fountain that comes up out of our mouth will be one that's sweet. All right, any questions, comments? Anything? Yes, sir. So you can understand, you can draw them closer. So you can realize that you need God. Sometimes that's the case. Because sometimes, King David actually prayed when he was asking forgiveness for his sins. He also asked God to forgive him for the sins he didn't realize were sins. And he asked him, said, I want to be forgiven for the things that I don't even realize I need to forgive him for, but please forgive me. And sometimes things happen, so we can recognize, maybe what that was. You had something to say?
When it always goes on.
What? What's that got to do with it? When's your baby trip? Well, then if you don't know when your baby trip is, what's it got to do with it? You don't need to know what it is. Huh? We're going to go somewhere.
I'm going to go mission on
We might be. Or it may be that we're taking y'all, all y'all youngins, and dropping y'all off to do some work, and all those parents are going somewhere to relax a little bit.
We're taking all the days to pay. All the way back to
Oh, we'll figure out. We're going to let y'all know sometime. I mean, once we figure it out. Right now, we can probably make it as far as Careful with the bridge.
Why can't we know?
In Mexico, $1 is $20 up to people money. I'll live in.
All right. Anybody got anything else concerning what we talked about tonight?
Why can't we know?
What we talked about tonight? Anybody got anything? Questions, comments? Yes, sir, Rich. Good. Okay. All right. Anybody else? Good? We're good? All right. And as we've done before, if you've got questions or things that you would like answered about the Bible, by all means, give them to him, and we'll look at those things. We've done that before. I think, what was it with the cave? It was, the question was, where was God during the dinosaur and cave days? And was he around? But if you got questions, make sure you get them to me. We'll be glad to go over them and discuss them with you. All right. Let's do some prayer requests. Yes, ma'am. Keep remembering I shot you. Anybody gets court? Say that to him. Yep, if anybody happens to somehow not know, Faith has broken her left hand. It would be the ring finger, long bone in the hand, and it got a pretty good break on it. She'll be out for a little while. Don't give it too much. Right. But no, she's doing pretty good. We went and got casted today. She slid into third on the steel last night. Short slid it and jammed up on the back of the bag. One. And Jesse, okay. Yes, sir. Your teacher? What your teacher name? Miss Hawkins. Yes, sir. How's
She said she's seen him a couple times. He seems to look and sound good. So, just keep it up.
Make sure we do. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Anybody else? Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Ridge. Cease. All right, that's good, everybody.
Remember Eric Hills? They had to take him to the, he's in ICU right now. He has.
Zeke,
NAT,
right? Ain't it Zeke?
He's in a diabetic, a mild diabetic.
Ketoacidosis.
Yes, he's in a mild one. Zeke food and he has sugar. Zeke,
Yeah.
yeah.
Zeke,
Oh,
yes.
no, you yesterday.
He was puking yesterday. That, yeah, so it's serious.
From his diabetes.
I have one.
sir. Brandon.
It's Simmons and,
Which was it? Same over the other day. Talked to him a little. When's he going? I couldn't get on
There's so
All right, yes, sir. Hey, that's fine too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Yes, sir, Mr. Steve.
Sure.
The church, absolutely. You've been listening to Paul, haven't you? Yes, sir.
I'm stuck in here,
Hey, Lord, no. You just remember.
he knows it's somebody.
That's right. You remember that you had somebody you want to pray for, Lord. That's it.
I thought that only happened today.
No, I was
Oh, no.
thinking the same thing, Denise.
No, I literally, y'all saw me, I mean, y'all restrained me for that long while ago, and I had to sit here and walk with my door out of this.
I don't know, bacon.
Yeah, that was the one that got me all, yes, Brent.
Me and
But
originally, hey, then there was stuff that they saying and all that.
Which did.
You put every single one of our Christmas tree did.
No.
One.
Okay, I can promise you, you do your part, and that's all it matters. Who was it, I think, who was it that said, I think it was actually Albert Einstein that said, if you lined up a bunch of animals and you gave them an aptitude test, and the test was, who could climb the tree, a fish would end up looking pretty stupid, wouldn't it? The point is this, we're not all gifted and talented in the same ways. We're not all gifted and talented in the same ways. We all have different gifts and different talents and different abilities. Look for the things that you are gifted and talented and have ability. Work hard on the things that you're not so good at. But look for the things that you are good at, because every one of us is good at something. Believe it or not, every one of us is good at something. Actually, that's all of us. You know what? You know who's not weird?
Me.
Nobody. We're all weird. We're all unique. We all have our little. Well, now, that's what most people. I understand that weird now means good looking, but that's okay.
That is not me that was fishing on the tree.
Hey, it never is. Do I?
Brooks fishing on the trees.
Okay. All right.
It's
Yes,
a
sir.
tree.
All right, we're going to get a little rock.
family.
Huh?
My family.
Your family. Amen. Yeah, I heard that they're recovering well. But I hadn't heard any kind of definite stuff, but I did hear that they're recovering well. So, Mr. Myron and Miss Lindsay. All right, anybody else?
Yeah, Brett Bell, he's a coworker of mine, got a massive heart attack and is in a coma.
Brett Bale, that's. He's in a coma.
Yes, I'm gonna back that update today that it doesn't like it.
Now, is that part of Barbecue Bells?
Yeah, he's mowed up, chicken.
Unless you know him? Brett Bell? Huh? No. Yes, sir. Yeah, no.
There was a girl that went today at lunch and she was
That's pretty bad stuff. Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right, anybody else? We good? Good Who'd like to lead us in prayer tonight? Or do I need to pick one? I need to pick one tonight. Is that what we need to do tonight? Who said that? Will? All right, go right ahead. Will, lead us in prayer. Y'all bow your head.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir. Make sure we can all hear you. Real quick, hey, as far as praying goes, y'all remember that nothing talking to God. So, don't ever feel uncomfortable about praying.
Hey, offer.
Oh, hey, everybody, offering. If you got one, load it in the basket.